Today is Tuesday, February the 2nd, and the McClellan oscillator did something quite important. It reached the neutral line. So it was a very big day. If you look at the advancers and decliners over the broad market, 75% of the stocks over the broad market advanced versus 23% that declined. So that brought the McClellan oscillator right back to zero. Where it can chatter and where it may very well chatter, because today was such a big day in the market, we might see a little bit of profit taking tomorrow. So if we look at the volatility index, certainly going in our favor. We can forget about moving averages, really. We're just looking at it in relation to where it had been in the past, and it's certainly dropping considerably. All of that gain that we had on January the 27th, last Wednesday, tomorrow could easily be taken care of. The S&P had a 1.4% up day. The key thing is that it remained above the 8 EMA, and it's certainly heading, I would think, to 39.19. But the new highs, the new closing high, would be right around here, that 38.57. So that's going to be the next point of resistance. Apple only up 95 cents, but blocked by the 8. And the volume was really not all that much. So tentative buying there. It's still a great stock. It's still a good price to buy at this time, or to sell 130 puts, or sell, I'm in the June 140 puts. I'm short those, and I think that that's a great place to be. Z, we said we weren't going to look at it anymore, but it's on its way to its second possible target, which would be right up here in that Gartley pattern. You can overshoot the Gartley by that much and still be within the rules. But today's wide range is something to take a look at now. $5.48 on its range, and finishing down over the day, but at least it recovered from most of its drop. Square had a pretty good day. Square is wild gyrations, but where it stopped on this Fibonacci, and I readjusted it, it used to be just looking at this particular wave, and then I realized, well, that wave is more significant. This would be a pullback from, if we look at a pullback from the bigger, let's zoom that out here. If we look at a pullback from this Fibonacci, that's a very big one. Let's try a different one, and let's look at what the Fibonacci pullback would have been let me try to get rid of this one. Let's see what the Fibonacci pullback is on this one here, from here down to there. And where did we pull back to? We pulled back to 50%. You can see right there. Let's just make it a different color. And let's go green. So now you can see if we remove that one and remove this one, that pullback was to 50% where we got our bounce. Now we're 61.8% of this Fibonacci. So we've really got a couple of good sets that we're looking at here. We probably are going back to 234.37 with support at 226.53 or 221.02, because it really is a volatile stock, but very little buying today and very little buying the day before. NIO. Still working in that pennant. They reported on Sunday, which was Monday in China, that they had sold 4 times the number of vehicles of the previous reporting period. So that they're way behind Tesla, but that's a pretty optimistic sign. I mean, this is how Tesla got started. There's more EV companies in the race now than there was when Tesla was out. There's all the American, German, and Japanese competition, but NIO is always one of the companies that's mentioned as one of the ones to watch for. And if it ever comes into the United States as part of a better trade deal with China, I think it's going to sell quite well. PRGS, that's our new stock. I did not add any more today, but we came down and we tested the 200 again, and our resistance today was actually above the 50, but we ended up with the Chiku span just at the 50 EMA. So it's still playing within the technical boundaries of our moving averages. But now if we look at that AB equals CD pattern, which followed the completion of this Gartley, AB equals CD, that will happen if it drops down to 39.45. So we can drop down to 39.45 even to the 200, and we're going to be in good shape. If we drop down to the 200, remember that the Chiku span could get support on the 200 EMA at the same time as price gets support on the 200 SMA. Those kind of coincidences are what we look for. RKT support on the bottom of the cloud seems to be fading. The last thing we'll look at and try to keep this short today is VERU. VERU has broken out of the pennant, so I went and I took a look at Twitter to see what people were talking about and see in particular if Trader Stewie is talking about it. So this guy here says VERU is up, so he's into VERU. Louis Vuitton says he's been in and out for 17% gain, and he thanks Trader Stewie for that. He's the one really who tipped everybody off, and I suspect everybody who's talking about it, it's because Trader Stewie told him about it. So he's noticed this hot sauce cross is noticing what we did, breaking out of the triangle, false breakout, all the things we were looking at, except in a triangle we were looking at a pennant. Here's somebody who entered in on today's dip, and Trader Stewie himself is saying it's teasing. So it doesn't look like he's gotten into it. But it's always something interesting to look at to see what people on Twitter are saying about your favorite stock. All you have to do is search for the symbol with the dollar sign in front of it. What else do we want to talk about? GameStop we don't want to talk about. It's dead, and if you're in it, I'm sorry. DDD, just for fun, has pulled back. FIS, Fidelity National Information Services, big push up to 61.8 and a pullback. So if you're interested in this stock, I'm not, over 61.8. It came onto our radar by something that Zach had mentioned, but it's just not something I'm inclined to play. And URI, nothing happening, probably much like Caterpillar. If we look at Caterpillar up 4% today. Wow. Although there's been no talk of infrastructure, keep an eye on Caterpillar. It might be a good one to sell puts on. If you were to sell 170 puts out into June or August, that might give you some good premium.